Bricktopian.
Hello everyone, it's Bricktopian here and welcome back to another video. Today I'll be taking a quick look at a LEGO Microscale MOC that I created. It is based on a small vintage house and I used a variety of techniques including snot building techniques, masonry bricks, plates with modified bars on them, nougat tiles and a few other details. One of the things you may notice straight away about this is that I actually used a 1x2 printed transparent brick with the numbers 1, 2, 3 on. That is meant to represent the house number. I also included a little fireplace at the side which actually sticks out using jumper tiles by half a stud, and it's got a little flame in there at the bottom which is quite cool. I added some plant detailing at the side using one of these, I think they're called fern elements, aren't they? I think they call them that. Do they call them fern elements? Whatever, just the smallish leaf elements. You got these little tiny leaves they do. I love this piece. I think they're really useful for lots of things. I just love how many colours you can get them in as well. You got just a sprouting small bar element there, the one that they use to put a single flower on. So I put that there just to give this some texture, make it more interesting. You can see there's masonry bricks on the chimney underneath as well. I added a ice cream piece at the top here, also used sometimes to represent popcorn. I used that as the smoke coming out of the chimney. I used a palisade brick there on the top. There's the ingot tile. You can see it's like a reddish brown color which matches this brick color and the roof color. I added a small lamppost there which uses a white telescope piece, a transparent 1x1 stud, and then a 1x1 tile on the top. And I've seen that used in a lot of MOCs on Rebrickable, and I thought that was a good way to do it. I've used a few different plate pieces there, 1x2s, that have the bar sticking up along there. There's 3 of them, and then further down here I used the plates that are modified with like the railing on them. They're not really a railing, but it's like you can sort of see what I mean. They're like that, so they've got like the bar that sticks out and goes across, and then I've just added the robot arm elements on here, which obviously you can see just can be moved up and down like this, and I've just used them to give more texturing to the bricks to give it sort of a medieval vibe. I've sort of done that, and then the roof itself is offset using 1x3 jumper tiles, so that instead of it being 6 wide when it gets to the roof, this is only 5 wide. And then I've used the 2x2 sloped bricks here. No, sorry. Well, they're like 2x2x1 or whatever you want to call it. They're like 1 wide, two deep and 2 high, and they're like slope angle. And I've used a snot brick in there, the one that's got the headlight style one, and I've used it a transparent one, and I've like put it back there to represent a window. And you can see I've used just a 1x2 slope brick here to give it that onset fill into the roof. At the side here, I've used a gold tile. I don't know I can't remember what they call them. Shield tiles, maybe. I've just used that to make the fact that this sticks out at the side look better, because obviously there's like a ledge there from the fact that this is offset. But I just thought that made it look better, and I just like the gold color choice anyway. And then down here, I made some really interesting building techniques because I did the whole thing sideways. So everything built here is sideways, and then it's just got tiles on the end there, and also underneath this build there's tiles as well. And basically then you got these bar elements, these modified plate elements here with the bar on either side of this. And this uses just a snot brick that's got studs on 4 sides underneath here. And then just one of the studs faces inwards and the rest there's 2 going out either side to hold all this together, and then there's one on the front to hold the ingot tile. But I just thought it was a really cool little build. I'm really proud of how this turned out, honestly. And on the roof, you even got details. There's another leaf on the roof, and there's a 1x2 black tile, which I've used to represent a roof access door. I also left this open, so it's got like them modified panel pieces, whatever you want to call them, that are like 2x2 size there as a window. And you can see, if you look inside, you can see it's mostly empty inside. That's because I've just put loads and loads of transparent elements inside, so that this still has structure and it can support the roof, but it still looks sort of empty inside because of those transparent pieces that are put in there. Loads of transparent bricks and things. And then around here at the back, you've got a nice 1x1 technic brick in reddish brown to represent the back door. You've got some more masonry brick here, and then another palisade brick, all in the tan, nice colour. I put up some more masonry bricks up here in the reddish brown for the back of the roof, and also there's a palisade brick there you can see in the middle that is going sideways. I repeated the idea of having a headlight brick in transparent for this part, and the things you might notice is I've continued the design from the front, where it's tan and black, around to the side, just to give it some consistency, and I think that looks really good, honestly. I made the angle of this roof match up perfectly with the angle of the chimney, so that there's no gap, obviously. And if it was straight, I don't think it would look as interesting. So I made it match that angle. And then obviously at the front, that angle of the roof matches this as well. So I thought that looked really good. And obviously it works better at covering this gap as well, because it's all open on the inside. Because this is using jumper tiles, it's offset, but still within the wall of the actual building, so it's not like a separate thing to the building. The actual chimney is a part of the wall. But I think that looks so good with that half a stud angle. It just looks really great how it's offset by that small amount, because I tried it offset by whole brick and it just didn't look anywhere near as good. It looked too outside the building for this small of a scale, and I tried putting it completely inset as well, but that didn't look as good either. So I thought like this was the perfect compromise between the two. I was really pleased with that. And I just really like doing these micro buildings. I honestly thought I would hate micro scale building, because I've always thought minifigure scale is just way better, and I've always thought that it doesn't have the same level of detail. But I think it's partly because I'm running out of space for Lego now that I'm sort of leaning more into micro scale buildings, but also just because I've realised that you can actually do quite a lot on a small scale, and there's quite a few still interesting building techniques you can use, and there's something quite therapeutic and fun about using loads and loads of 1x1 pieces and 1x2s to achieve something. I don't know, it just feels kind of satisfying in a way. But I've come a long way, I think, with this compared to my previous attempts at doing a micro scale building, because this is on an 8x8 plate, and that I decided to do because it's a good measurement that's similar to the ones from that LEGO Creator Expert Mini Modulars set, and also the LEGO Ninjago Micro Cities sets they did recently as gift with purchases, or insiders reward sets they were. Yeah, I feel like the scale of that, they obviously were all on 8x8 plates to represent modulars, so I decided this was going to be on an 8x8 plate as well, and it's also got the sidewalk. But basically you can see this was my old version I did. This was the old one I did, my first attempt at doing a building on an 8x8 plate, and you can just see how much more detailed and sophisticated this new one is than that. It looks smaller, but in a good way. It doesn't look so bulky. This just looks so blocky compared to my second attempt at a building. And just like the techniques are so much better. It's got one door instead of two. Just the color scheme blends so much better. The roof looks so much better. Everything about it, really. Like, this is so basic compared to my new attempt. You can just see how blocky it is. Just how far I've come in that shorter time, really, of going from my first attempt to my second. But I knew I wanted to make something on this scale, because I really did underestimate how good the Ninjago miniature micro versions of the Ninjago city sets were, and also how good the LEGO Creator Mini Modular set would be. And both of that stuff just like impressed me with how good it was and how much detail there was. I was just like, this is actually a lot better than I thought. And even though obviously the build goes really quick and there's not much to it, I just thought, actually, on a small scale for what it is, it's pretty good. Like, I feel like Microscale isn't as dismissive as I thought it was going to be, like, to dismiss it, like, and say, nah. But anyway, here's a look at a building that's from that Creator Expert Mini Modular set. So you can sort of see where I got the inspiration from, because you can see the sidewalk is sort of the same, and some of the building techniques are similar, like this uses them sloped bricks for the roof as well, and things like that. It uses snot building techniques here, and different things, and you can just see what the sort of thing I was going for, basically, with my design. I was thinking, as it's a house, this one, a vintage house, I wanted it to be slightly smaller than the some of these buildings, because obviously it's going to be in a slightly smaller scale. But I didn't want it to be too small, and I just think I've got the perfect balance here, and I think it works well. And I decided I wanted it as a corner building because I thought that would work really well for adding the chimney section. But I do plan on probably expanding this to make it whole street, where it's going to have like other buildings, either other houses or maybe just other little shops that are going to add on to it. And I think that'll be really fun. So yeah. And I've currently also been working on a set from Rebrickable, which is not a rebrickable model. It's not like something that you use parts from and then you remake it into something else. But this is listed as a MOC on Rebrickable, and it is a miniature version of the Natural History Museum. And I've started working on this. It isn't finished yet, but I decided that this would look really nice in layout as well, and it's one that I don't have the regular big modular of, so I was like, this should be a really fun project. And I planned in hopefully some others as well, because I don't know, they're just good if you can't get all the big versions of the modulars, and I think it's a good way to do it. So yeah, there's not really a lot else I need to say on this, honestly, other than I think this turned out how I wanted it to. I hope you like my design and you maybe feel inspired by it to do your own micro scale buildings. But anyway, that's all I need to say. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. Feel free to like, share and subscribe for more videos, and see you again in the next one. Goodbye.